All right, so for my younger viewers, I think we need to give a little context here, because for those of you who were not there in the mid to late 90s and didn't witness the rise of Will Smith as a movie star, then you cannot fully grasp the sheer meteoric rise of this man and what a unique and needed presence he was. All right, so Fresh Prince was on the air, and it was a fun show. Showed off just how good he was comically. Had a lot of fun with it. And then Independence Day happens, and people were like, "You cast the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air as your action hero?" And then that movie hit, and he was fucking awesome in it. And from there, boy howdy, the sky literally was the limit. Men in Black, Wild Wild West, iRobot, even in the movies that weren't good, like Wild Wild West. The man had a charisma. He had a likability. He had a strut. He had style. He oozed cool in a way that not a lot of actors could do. And it was genuine cool. It wasn't put on. It wasn't a suit. It was him. It was that swagger, that half smile. All right, I'm putting him up there with Frank fucking Sinatra. With just how much this guy had it. So then, this movie happens, all right? So now, 20 years past, that rise. And of course, things have happened. He's had a few duds. His career has slowed down. It happens to the best of us. This is not a blame thing. This movie happens and says, we're going to use cutting edge CGI technology to make it possible for the Will Smith of today to have an action blowout against the fucking Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Sign me up! So with all that, this is where we ask the key question. With all of that knowledge and a premise like that, given the history behind it, why is this movie so fucking boring? You had $1 million idea. Okay? Will Smith of today, still a cool guy, little older, a little bit more mature, but still got that swagger. The only thing I really liked about Aladdin, yes, it was a soulless Disney live-action cash grab, all right? They all are. But for a moment in there, I was like, look, it's the old Will Smith. He's having fun, right? And I think that's the thing. That was the thing about Will Smith. That in his early days, he was having so much fun in his movies. He could sell the weirdest fucking concepts for movies just because you could tell he was digging it. He was digging the goofiness. And because of that, we dug the goofiness. And when I saw Aladdin, I was like, okay, it's obviously being neutered a bit. But I saw the twinkle, and I was like, it's kind of like seeing the old Will Smith. And you're gonna put that against the young Will Smith, the Fresh Prince. And how did you fuck that up? How did you fuck that up? All right, let's back up here. I know how they fucked it up. I'm going to tell you how they fucked it up, because that's what I do. They fucked it up because they ran into the problem, the biggest problem, It is the problem that has infested Batman. It is the problem that has infested James Bond. It is the problem that has infested so many films. And no matter how many Marvel movies they put out that totally refute this, these films still have the overarching problem that Heath Ledger's Joker put so simply. Why so serious? You have a movie wherein you have cloned a super soldier, essentially the Black Captain America, and he's gonna fight his older self. To me, that sounds to me like you need to turn into the Skid. All right, you have got to take it. You got to take this old school, like 80s old school. Go back and think about some of the action movies from the 80s and describe the plots to somebody younger, and just see the look on their face. You ever tried actually explaining the plot of Terminator? Explain the plot of Terminator to somebody. Just do it. Somebody younger, and see the look on their face. Obviously, they know what Terminator is, but I mean, Terminator, Predator, basically any Schwarzenegger film, Commando, but we believed in these films, and we accepted the craziness of their premises because the actors involved, the Stallones, the Schwarzeneggers, the Bruce Willis-I, all right, they had charisma to spare, and they brought their charisma to bear, that rhymes, on these outrageous topics. And because they were just so effortlessly cool, and again, you could tell they were just having the most fun doing it, we believed it. And this movie goes, I've never been a huge fan of the Jason Bourne films. I think they have interesting points to them, and Matt Damon was good in most of them, but on the whole, they're very dry, very tasteless movies. I don't mean tasteless as in, shit and fart jokes. I just mean they don't have any flavor. They're very bland, but they came along at the right time. They hit at the right moment. They were something different. So now every one of these films has got to be a Jason Bourne movie. This is a film that should have been an old school Will Smith crazy ass movie, but they are playing it with the dour seriousness of a Jason Bourne movie, and it doesn't fucking work. It is dull as dishwater, folks. I was so bored sitting there. And all I could think sitting there watching this thing was, God, if they just let Will Smith off the leash, if they just let him go and, again, steered into the skid of the craziness, what an exciting film this could have been. What a fun romp it could have been. And that decision is the problem with everything. You have, again, you're dealing with high concept science fiction, or not so much high concept, but far out there concepts, cloning and all of that. All right, and to make that plausible, to make a film like that plausible, again, there's only two ways to really go about it. Number one, you need to, as I said, turn into the skid and just accept the craziness and go all out. Go Hurricane Heist on it. Or you need fucking British people. Okay? You need British actors. You ever wonder why British actors are in all the science fiction movies? Because they are just good at making even the most bizarre things sound plausible and logical. I mean, watch Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart do a scene from the original X-Men. Any other actor up there would be like, what? But these two doing it, it's like, shit, we better take this seriously. So you need one of those two things. This film has none of them. So it neuters Will Smith. It's not as neutered as some of the performances he's given recently, but it's not Will Smith. It's not what I came to see. We have, Benedict Wong is the only other really named actor in this, and his charisma's been sucked out. Everybody else, and I'm sorry to say this, I'm going to be really rude here, and I don't mean to be. Everybody else, it feels like they really drudged up the C-level actors to inhabit the rest of this. Probably because the special effects needed to do the facial thing was so expensive, so they could only afford one big name actor and one fairly big name actor, and the rest was like, well, just see what day players are available. None of the characters in this movie have any fucking chemistry. They are not talking to one another. They are just bopping lines back and forth. Something I always tell my students that's the worst sin you can commit while acting is just, I say a line, you say a line, I say a line, you say a line, and not actually talk to the other person, but that's what they're doing. It's just it's verbal table tennis. So no chemistry between any of the actors. So that means we have no one to invest in. And of course, then they bring in Junior, the Will Smith clone, of course, played by Will Smith, with a lot of digital tomfoolery going on. I gotta say this. I have to give the movie 2 props. Let's talk about some things the movie did right. First of all, the action scenes in it are really good. The main one you see in the trailer, the chase scene on the dirt bikes, that is actually really well staged, really up-tempo, and really exciting. Or in theory it would have been if the characters had been interesting and you'd been invested in the story. As nobody was, you could have the best staged thing ever, but if nobody cares, who cares? But the action, when they allowed it to happen, was really good. And it is amazing to see how far technology can come with the digital, presence of Will Smith playing a younger version of himself. It's pretty damn impressive. It looked pretty good for the most part. There were a couple of scenes where, I don't know, just the lighting or whatever was weird, so it looked fake. But for the most part, it looked pretty good. The problem with it, just from a technical standpoint, is you had the younger face of Will Smith, but he still had the 51-year-old Will Smith's voice. And yeah, voices don't change a lot when you get to a certain age, but they do change. His voice, Will Smith has always had a little bit higher voice than a lot of guys, but his voice has gotten deeper as he's gotten older. So you had the, you had the face, but the voice sounded old. So that didn't work as well. But then he shows up. And again, this is where the film falls flat. Because if you had let it go and let a crazy, charismatic 50-year-old Will Smith go up against, again, the fucking Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, boy howdy, what an action blowout that would have been. We get 1% of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air here. And it's the 1% in that famous scene where he screams at his dad and then says to Uncle Phil, "Why don't he want me, man?" And he sits there with his lip and the tears. Powerful scene. I am not mocking that scene from Fresh Prince. That is classic, and it's really well done. But half of what he does as the young Will Smith is just that crying face. He's always got that crying face on. Oh, what a waste. What an absolute waste. And not only that, but again, also in its attempt to be a Jason Bourne movie, I'll be fucked if I know why any of this was going on. You have a basic, spy film here. So of course, the world's greatest spy, greatest assassin is double-crossed and falls into something. But I'll be damned if I can tell you what exactly was the deal or why he assassinates someone at the beginning of the film, but it turns out that it's not who he thought it was or something, and that guy knew something. It's very vague. Of course they're just doing it to, set Will Smith on the run so young Will Smith can go after him. But it's like you could be confusing if the rest of your movie was high octane and exciting. But when you space your fucking action scenes out and the rest of the time is just dull, talky scenes, at least could you make the dull, talky scenes make some kind of fucking sense? That's just common courtesy, if you ask me. So yeah, I'll be damned if I can figure out what was going on. I said that a lot of the fight scenes were good. A lot of them, you could tell they sped the film up to make it look like they were fighting faster than they actually were. I don't know if that's also kind of to hide the flaws in the computer animation, which a lot of times when they do things like that, it is. But yeah, I just don't understand the logic. I don't understand the logic to any of this. You've got a great idea and a great premise, and again, it's all coming back to that one issue. Again, Will Smith, one of the most charismatic guys on the planet, but the character he's playing here is just, it's essentially Jason Bourne. He's another one of these perfect assassin, perfect soldiers. He always plans 27 steps ahead. He always beats up everybody without a problem. It's a generic character. And again, I'm sounding like a broken record here, but you could stand the generic character if he was at least fun to watch. If he was at least filled with some of that good old Will Smith, I am just having a blast being here and doing something this fucking weirdness. But it doesn't. So therefore, it's just another boring, perfect super soldier character. And that is this film. It is boring as shit. Man, Fall Break at the movies has been disappointing so far. I really can't think of anything else to talk about with this movie, and I think if I could think of anything else, I would just be circling back around to that exact same mission statement. That same hypothesis. All right, I think I've proven my point by now. I don't think we're going to get anywhere by me just proving it over and over again. So let's just wrap this up. So final grade for the Gemini, man. I'm forgetting I haven't done it in a while, so I'm forgetting my sign language here. I'm just gonna go like that. I think that's an F, but it's a D minus on this. I need to look the sign language back up because I think I forgot how to do a D. So I'm sorry, but it's a D minus. I mean, it's so, oh god, just skip it. It's not even like Replicas was earlier in the year, where it's so bad it's fun. It couldn't even be that. I am very disappointed in this. Just, and I'll say one last thing, and I hate to, beat a dead horse here, but do you ever get the feeling that Ang Lee is just one of the most overrated directors ever? Ang Lee has kind of hit that James Cameron spot for me, where technically they are very good directors, but I just don't like any of their movies. I can't think of an Ang Lee film that I went, yeah! Did he do Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon? Well, even if he did, that one made no fucking sense. So, that's it. So even if he did, my point stands. All right, so as I said, Fall Break at the movies is off to a rough start the last two nights, but The sun can't shine on the same dog's ass every day. But the break is very young, and who knows, there might be some fun surprises waiting for us along the road. And if not, at least we'll have fun dissing them. So, until next time, drive safe, and I will see you at the movies.